Thank you so much to everybody who threw some massive support behind my Prizma Visuals Early Access Texture Pack review. I greatly appreciate the support, but from that video, there has been a few other questions, namely about brightness settings and about x32 and x16. So I figured in today's video, we could go and have a look. Before we begin though, let me do a massive thank you to Starfish Studios once again for the early access to Prizma Visuals texture pack for Vibrant Visuals. It officially releases on October 28th, along with the Vibrant Visual texture pack compatibility in the Minecraft Bedrock Marketplace and Minecraft Bedrock game as a whole. The Prizma Visuals texture pack is going to be 990 mine tokens. The price has changed from when I first recorded the texture pack review. It's actually gotten cheaper to be more accessible to each and every one of you. So let's jump in and answer a few questions. And so the first question that I want to answer in this video is, what are the creator's intended brightness settings? Because you see, with Prizma Visuals and with all Vibrant Visual texture packs in general, the brightness is going to matter not only on how the pack is presented, but also on how comfortable you're going to feel when you're playing it. So notoriously, I use quite a dark setting for Vibrant Visuals, and we're going to move away from that today. So if we go into the settings menu here, I'll show you what they tell you should have it on for the settings that they have specific requirements. So if you go into settings and go to Vibrant Visual options, the first thing you want to do is go to adjust brightness. Now, Starfish Studios and the Prizma team recommend that you up this all the way to underneath the SS of brightness, essentially ignoring what it says about adjusting your brightness until you can only see 2 creeper faces. Hit continue. They also say that what you want to do is go to a volumetric fog quality and you want to have that set to maximum. I haven't changed any of these as far as I know for my settings. These are all maximum. And then one other thing that I do, they don't mention this, but one thing that I do for lag is I turn down the deferred render distance. Now, render distance on PS5, for instance, can go all the way up to 28 chunks. Now, if I lower it to 18, I find that I have a much smoother experience, even when on a realm. So let's go into here and we can have a look at how this looks. So this is the intended Prizma brightness, and it's very bright. Now, it's not for me to say whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. I use a darker brightness. That's all I've got. But if we look at like the water, for instance, on here, it's a softer, lighter blue. We've got a very bright light shining through. And if we look up at the sun, that is a piercing bright light. If we come around here and we go into like a different biome, you'll see that mood color change immediately to the swamp biome color, which is a darker green, but not nearly as dark as what I would have it normally. And so you get to decide if you like this. And I would advise you play around with your brightness as well, by the way. You don't necessarily need to put it on the intended settings. Obviously, this is what Starfish Studios believe is the best setting, but it's all about what you're comfortable with. So this is how we would look inside of a swampland. This is what it would look like if we enter into a broken savanna, which I don't know if this is going to pretty much load in how it should because of the biome. If you can hear banging in the background, by the way, that's my neighbors. They're still really, really annoying. And then if we come over here into this part of a savanna, maybe we can see if there's going to be much of a change as we walk around. You've got the yellow of the grass just really bursting with color, bursting with brightness. That pig over there as well with the custom animation looking quite awesome as we fly through. I have to say there hasn't really been much of a mood lighting change. Probably doesn't help that we're in a very small piece of biome. If we pop over here, we're going to go into more of a forest area. We can run through the trees in here and see how these goes. Oh, good. My neighbors are drilling now. That's awesome. Thank you very much. But we can run through here and we can see how light pierces through in certain areas of leaves, how it looks with the shadows. We get that all onto here. So this is the intended brightness, like I said. I can also go underwater and show you how that looks with this brightness. It's actually quite a bit easier to see underwater like this, to be fair, which isn't surprising. I may have to force myself to go a little bit brighter by the time Vibrant Visuals and Prizma Visuals releases. Let's go under a little bit more. When you just get that full water effect down here. Oh, that was nice. That little transition looked really good. We get into a bit more darker in here. And then another thing that we could probably go and have a look at. Actually, I think there's a village nearby. I want to have a look at that. Obviously, make sure you go and check out my full texture pack review of Prizma Visuals using the early access copy. If you want to see all of the stuff with my darker settings, we'll come over here. We can see how gorgeous the Iron Golem is. Look at the light bouncing off of him. The reflections. Oh, perfect. He knows as well. Look, he's like, yeah, spin around. Yeah, you know, you hamming it up for the camera. I see you, my dude. Okay. All right. So then one other thing that we can go and do then is if we've turned the brightness up, let's go into game mode spectator. We're going to go underground. We're going to see how it looks. Oh, wow. There's a stronghold here. Hello. Thank you very much. Didn't know that. Now, caves, the Nether, the End are all very, very dark areas in Vibrant Visuals, and that doesn't change with Prizma, not so much at least. But how does it change using the intended brightness settings? I want to find a nice open area that we can probably just fly through and have a look. We'll use a bit of light here with the lava as well. We'll go back into creative for this. Game mode creative. Here we go. And so, yeah, this is just the intended brightness. No night vision. Purely lit by glow lichen and lava. It's still incredibly dark, in fairness. It does slowly start to come back in. I don't know if you're seeing it on the YouTube compression. But you've got the ores lighting up around us as well. It's a bit more visible than it was for me in my original video and my other videos that will be coming out. But it's finding that balance, really. But that's how it would look inside a cave. And then if we go to set block, we're going to head to the Nether and we're going to see how it looks there. Right, like so. Thank you very much. Into the Nether. Still incredibly dark. You probably get a little bit more hint of the red from the Nether. But yeah, the Netherrack kind of bleeds in a bit more. This is really good, actually. Very hot. Just heat exuding off of everywhere. Pop over here and see this crimson biome. Look at this. It does start to get very bright, though. Like, the light does become a little bit overpowering for me. That's not a negative in terms of the pack. It's just probably an explainer of why I use the darker textures. The darker brightness, even. We'll come around here as well. We can see that down here, too. And then if we head over into, like, this direction, we can go and see a warped biome as well. The most colorful biomes are very beautiful in Prizma. I'm not going to lie. Look at this. I really like the way they do the tree stems. I really like the starry ground as well. It's so good. This is awesome as well. So the way that they can choose which part of the block illuminates is amazing. They've done a really good job. Very impressed with this. Just fly around a little bit more. You can see how it looks. And then I suppose, oh, we probably go over here to the basalt as well. You guys know I like a good ramble, right? So here we go. Pop into here. Again, that red starts to bleed through a little bit more with the Netherrack that's around. Not bad. I may have to turn my brightness up. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like this setting? Do you guys like it being this bright? As a YouTube creator, I have to be careful on my brightness settings. It's not just about my eyes. It's about your eyes as well, I guess. I got to be nice to you guys, right? I mean, of course I do. Sarcasm. How do I get a sarcasm sign? But that looks awesome over there. And then the last one that we can go and do is just head set block that way. End portal. And don't worry, we will head back to the overworld to set it to nighttime. Okay, the end looks is a bit more manageable, actually. And again, so having this brightness setting, I think the best way to describe it... Oh, hello. Having this brightness setting allows more color to pop into the darkness. So we saw in the Nether the red of the Netherrack bleeding in. We're now seeing the purple start to take over. There's like a purple shade to everything here. Looks awesome. There's a reason why they said this is the intended, isn't there? Let's go on to here. I'm going to have to go get my eyes tested and get this all sorted out. But there's a nice purple glow. It can feel a bit weird, this purple glow. Like they're kind of being highlighted. I don't know if that is as intended. Like that. I don't particularly like that. I like it in short bursts, but not so much like that. Kind of looks like she's enchanted, in fairness. But okay, if we head back to the overworld, we're going to go and just set it to nighttime as well, so you can see what nighttime is like. So very bright daytime here. Hopefully I don't have always day on, although I do think oh no, I don't. That's good. Set to night. Boom. And so this is the dead of night right here. The moon just coming up over it a little bit. Not a ton. Obviously have to go and check out the water. The water. Gotta go and check it out. It looks like, oh no, I thought it might have bugged, but it hadn't. No, that looked good. I can see the ripple effects. Looking awesome. Getting a little bit of lag there. I am still using a realm, so just bear that in mind as well. As we come through here, I'm starting to question actually whether or not that has. No, it hasn't. No, we got the ripple effects in there. That's not fully transparent. Bugged water in vibrant visual texture packs is going to forever be the bane of my existence now, I think. Something I'm constantly going to be overly focused on. Oh, that was nice the way that firefly came in. But yeah, you get the moonlight there. Yeah, I think I may have to change my settings to this. This looks awesome. I do like the darker though. The darker night times, the darker nevers, the darker ends. I have to say I do like that. But this is how it's intended to look with the creator's intended brightness settings. So let me know what you guys think. And let's go into another question. And so the next question then that was asked quite a lot in my original video was, what happens if you turn off vibrant visuals or you load into a world without vibrant visuals active? So we're going to answer the first one first because that's how things go. If we go into settings, I'm going to change the settings to fancy and we're going to see what happens. Now, does it break? Does it not render in textures? Let's find out. We'll put it into fancy. There's a little message there saying, hi from Prizma Visuals. If Vibrant Visuals isn't working, try disabling other packs. It might fix it. So a little bit of help there in terms of how that goes. We're going to dip out of this and you can see it defaults back. It just defaults back to like standard textures. It doesn't break. It has the global resources of the standard textures. We can look at blocks as well. And it doesn't look like we've got any of that height mapping, although got to be staring at this block now. No, I don't think we've got any height mapping in here. I think just from like previous, I think the way certain blocks have been lit up is how that works. So I think this is still using a Prizma. In fact, we can work this out. Let me go to a trident. Okay, so Prizma is still here, right? We're still using the base vanilla, or not vanilla, the base textures of this Prizma Visuals texture pack. Because the way texture packs are built, there's a base layer which kind of works as the fallback, and it's the very base textures of how they're supposed to look. And then there's other layers that get applied on top of that, which help add lighting and other effects, glow, metallicness, all of this sort of stuff. So when vibrant visuals even is disabled, you still get that base layer. It's the fallback, the security blanket to know that your game's not going to break. So if for whatever reason vibrant visuals decides, no, we're not going to work, then you still get the prettiness. And as we move into other texture packs and other stuff like that, you'll keep the base version the same way you do here with Prizma. Now, if we was to turn vibrant visuals back on, I'm wondering if it will actually happen here. But if you turn vibrant visuals on, it has happened. If you turn vibrant visuals on in-game, what can happen is the water can bug. So if you saw the early version of my main texture pack review video, you'll know that I didn't realize this had happened, and I was commenting on this water as if it was the real water. I kind of like the transparency of it. I stand by that. But this is bugged. And so what you want to do is just leave the world, come back in, and the water effect should fix itself. And what happens then if you load into the world without vibrant visuals automatically set up? So if you just load into the world for the first time using fancy settings, I'm expecting it to do what we've just seen and fall back on the lower version. But let's find out. And so we're loading in. I didn't bother turning vibrant visuals on. And as you can see again, using the trident as our good displayer here, we are still using the Prizma textures. Nothing has broken. We're just using a fancy version of the texture pack. And again, I do not believe that height map stuff is happening, I just feel like there is certain color elements that make it feel like there is a raise up of certain textures because of the way it's been colored to give that effect. So I hope that answers the question. Just because you're using a Vibrant Visuals texture pack, if something was to happen to Vibrant Visuals or you had to move to a device that wasn't Vibrant Visuals supported, you do still have the base textures to use. Let's go to the next question. Now, a lot of people have been asking, what's the difference between x32 and x16? And that's what we're going to go into. So we're currently standing here in x32 with the correct brightness settings as well, I might add. But what you'll see down below here, for instance, is the trident, the mace, the crossbow, and the bow have all lost their pink frilly bits. And that's a very big difference here. So for x32, they call it the vanilla mode, and it's to be used with actions and stuff, and it brings in the Prizma lighting and the block details alongside vanilla textures. So x32, like I said, is going to have vanilla textures. It doesn't use Prizma. It doesn't have player animations either, so you're back to the standard player animations of the vanilla game. That's also the same for the mob animations as well. It keeps the block height maps. As you can see on here, you can see there are the grooves, the indents, the bumps, and the less smooth face, which we can also see here on a crimson stem in certain areas as well. There's some pops up and pops down. And then for the diamond as well, we've got some of that indented. Like I said, the pink 3D bits are gone from the weapons, and so are the glowing ores, which I can't immediately show you here, but you'll just take my word for that one. So in the x32, you don't have the player and mob animations, you don't have the mob detailing, but you do have the block detailing. You don't have the 3D pink items, and you don't have the glowing ores. But aside from that, you still get to use quite a lot of the good stuff, even using the vanilla textures. And then if we go over to x16, well, the keen eye amongst you will have noticed that there was a slight change, because I've changed into the x16 version now. And what x16 is basically, it's kind of a middle ground between the two. So x16 brings back the Prizma textures. As you can see, the trident has a bit of gold around the top, and the blocks are slightly different from vanilla as well. And it also brings back mob detailing with the 3D elements on there as well, which we would have lost on the x32. But what it does do is it keeps those pink 3D items removed, and it also keeps the player and mob animations removed. The ores do glow in x16. And so that's kind of the differences between x32, x16. They're both created with using packs like actions and stuff in mind as well. But I can't show you that right now, because if I try to put a texture pack into the world, the visuals default back to fancy, and we have to wait until October 28th for that to become a bit more accessible and compatible. So unfortunately, there is not a way for me to show you that right now, but hopefully that will kind of explain a bit of a difference. I think the best way to think about it is in x32 and in x16, you both have Prizma lighting, you both have block detailing, both remove player and mob animations, and both remove the pink 3D items. The x16 version uses the Prizma textures and has glowing ores and mob details, whereas the x32 version uses vanilla textures, doesn't have mob details, and doesn't have glowing ores. Hopefully that makes sense. It's very confusing, but when it all becomes compatible, we might be able to play around with it a little bit more. So now that we have the brightness settings as the creator intended, I thought if you would indulge me, we could do 2 flyovers of my armory section, one during the day and one at night. So I hope you guys will indulge me on this and allow me to do this. Enjoy the montage.